Hi Reddit, long-time lurker, first-time poster. Call me Wade. I live in Foggy Hill, a rural town so small that gossip travels faster than pizza. It's the kind of place where the high school mascot is a goat, and everyone remembers who dented the gas station pump back in '92. Quiet, peaceful, and boring enough that any drama becomes instant town-wide entertainment. After my divorce, I moved back to fix up my dad's old place. It boasts a wraparound porch, a yard full of weed-filled potential, and one supremely judgmental cat named Dennis. I craved the peace and quiet, or at least I used to. Enter Earl. Earl, my next-door neighbor, is 67 years old. He wears overalls like a suit of armor and walks like every step is a carefully calculated threat. He possesses the temperament of a wet matchbook, and a face that suggests a past altercation with a particularly aggressive raccoon. Earl's yard is his pride and joy. He trims his hedges with a level, mows his lawn diagonally, and polishes his mailbox until it gleams. But above all, he worships his garden gnome, Gerald. Gerald is, to be fair, impressive. A red hat perched jauntily atop his head, a wizard's beard carefully sculpted onto his face, and arms crossed as if daring squirrels to even think about challenging him. Earl built Gerald a platform, installed a spotlight, and even laminated a fictional biography complete with forged war medals. I was aware of Gerald's existence, but we weren't exactly close. Then, one day, Gerald vanished. The subsequent door pounding was vigorous. Earl, red-faced and incandescent with rage, was already yelling before I even managed to open the door. "You took him," he roared. I blinked. "Took who?" "Gerald, my gnome." "He's gone, and you're the only one sneaky enough to have done it. Now, I'm many things. A terrible cook. A notoriously slow texter. I once bought a blender from the trunk of a stranger's car, but a gnome thief? Absolutely not." "Earl," I replied, taking a leisurely sip of coffee. "If I wanted a grumpy old man in my yard, I'd have invited you over." This did not de-escalate the situation. He stormed off, muttering darkly about justice and my impending regret. And with that, a petty war began. It started small. Earl glared at me from his porch with the intensity of 1,000 suns. Then he erected a sign, "Gnome Lives Matter." My counter-offensive involved a flamingo holding a sign that read, "Free Gerald." He revved his lawnmower at dawn. I countered with polka music blasting from my shed. He trimmed his hedge into the shape of a middle finger. I retaliated by spelling #justice for gnomes and solar-powered lights using Morse code. Then, inspiration struck. I began collecting gnomes, not just buying them, but actively hunting them. Yard sales, Facebook Marketplace, even a shady transaction behind a Dollar Tree, where a character named Skip handed over a crate of gnomes like they were some illicit substance. Within 2 weeks, I possessed over 40 gnomes, fishing gnomes, biker gnomes, sleepy gnomes, even one giving the finger. I arranged them in elaborate scenes, a barbecue, a poker night, a gym, even a miniature wedding. My lawn resembled a chaotic, tiny suburb. Earl exploded. "You think this is a joke?" he bellowed. "Only when I'm awake," I quipped. He called the sheriff. Sheriff Tom arrived, surveyed the scene, and remarked, "Wade, is your yard unionizing?" Word spread like wildfire. People came to gawk. Children took photos. One woman even inquired about renting my yard for a gnome-themed baby shower. Earl retaliated by painting a mural on his shed depicting Gerald, sword raised triumphantly over a fallen orc. I responded by encircling my mailbox with gnomes positioned in a strategic siege formation. And still, I hadn't stolen Gerald. The local newspaper ran a story. "Foggy Hill faces no more." I proudly framed a copy. Then, Earl proposed a challenge. A gnome off. "Next Sunday," he declared. "Noon. Best display wins. The loser mows the winner's lawn until Halloween." I agreed on one condition. Dennis, my judgmental cat, would serve as the official mascot. The week leading up to the gnome off was pure chaos. I constructed elaborate gnome sets, a drive-in movie theater, a high-speed police chase, a gnome therapy session, even a hot dog stand. I installed a miniature disco ball, played nature sounds, painted tiny props until 3 a.m. Sunday arrived, cars lined the street. A local entrepreneur sold kettle corn. Sheriff Tom served as the impartial judge. Earl's display followed a Civil War-themed gnomes, wielding muskets, a replica of Gerald serving as the general, complete with smoke machines and patriotic music. My entry? Gnome Coachella, a tiny stage, mini spotlights, a DJ gnome decked out in a glittery hat. The crowd roared with laughter. Children cheered wildly. Dennis, ever the showman, relieved himself on a speaker. The votes were tallied. Wade -63, Earl to 41. A few votes surprisingly went to Dennis. Earl, to his credit, shook my hand. This ain't over, he grumbled. Then came the twist. The next morning, Gerald appeared in my mailbox, carefully wrapped in bubble wrap and accompanied by a note. He just needed a break. It turned out that Earl's nephew had accidentally knocked Gerald over during a drunken ride-on lawnmower incident and subsequently hid him in the shed. Earl knew the truth but preferred to blame me. But karma, as it turns out, has GPS. It also emerged that Earl had been picking fights with everyone in town, slashing tires, dumping trash in compost bins. He'd even tossed a dead squirrel into Old Man Jensen's swimming pool. People had remained silent because Earl was loud, aggressive, and always carried a spade. But now, with the no more thrust into the public spotlight, people started talking. Sheriff Tom revisited some old cases. The vandalism, threats, and squirrel abuse added up. Earl was arrested last Thursday. Gerald is now retired. He sits on the property line, facing both our houses, a neutral ambassador of sorts. I water him gaily. Dennis still urinates on his base. Balance, finally, is restored.